Hey everyone, my name's Nato Military, and today we are going to take a look at my different NATO military out the front knives. Now, the NATO military out the fronts were never known as a high-end automatic. In fact, they were sold in the backs of magazines or from the Edgeco catalog, and they were known as kind of a cheap throwaway automatic back in the 80s. Now, due to that, and due to the people that would purchase these and the magazines that they were in, the people were kids when they were really purchasing these, or teenagers. Now that it's been a few years since the 80s, or early 90s even, those people are wanting to collect these, and a lot of them, since they weren't high-quality automatics, were basically broken. And I have quite a few broken ones that I've collected from flea markets and yard sales and all that. So let's take a look at all these. These are the ones I've picked from my collection that have at least one thing different when comparing them to each other. And then at the end, we'll also take one apart, one of my broken ones apart, and show you the insides. Now, I do have an Edgeco catalog where these were originally sold. Let me see if I can find a page. I think it was around 20-something. Yes, 22. So you have the black-handled NATO military and the camouflage. And these originally were selling for $20 for the black and $22 for the camouflage. And a lot of times you could get discounts or special deals, or even maybe a free one if you bought so many knives. Yeah, so it really depended. These were not known as high-end automatics. So let's take a look at the top row, then we'll go to the bottom row, and I'll kind of point out what's different about each individual one. I did say most of these I purchased from yard sales, flea markets, and all that. That's really the place that I found to get them if you're wanting them for a reasonable price. Of course, you can go onto forums or on Facebook groups and pay anywhere from $65 for pretty beat up one to $120 on some sites, or even more. But yeah, if you go to flea markets and search, that's where you can find a good deal on one of these. So first off, we have two with silver bolsters. They both have the same camouflage colored handle on here, but the difference between these two is one says rust-free on the stamp, and the other one says stainless china. And you can see those right there. And these are ones with silver bolsters, or silver colored bolsters. And you can hear that very tingy sound when opening and closing these, not the click of a high-end automatic. Next, we have a black bolster one. This is the same kind of same coloring for the camouflage, so probably the same manufacturer, just with the black bolsters on it. And this one says stainless rust-free. And what's interesting about this, it actually still has that China sticker on the blade. See that right there. So kind of cool. Next, we have a black-handled NATO military, silver bolsters. These so far have not been, or not had any pins on them. This one's actually probably the cleanest one. Says stainless Germany on the tang. Nothing on this other side. It's actually a chisel ground knife. It's actually probably the highest one of the highest quality ones. Actually, a pretty nice knife for a NATO military. These two are my favorites. This is, unlike a lot of these other NATO military designs, it has a very squared off handle, but it does say NATO military. Open that up, and it says rust-free. That action reminds me of another knife brand. So I'm wondering if that is made by, is it AKC? Maybe Fox? Yeah, it has a very similar feel to this knife, made by Fox. Same button, as you can see there. So, I'm guessing these are reproductions. They just put probably the NATO military name on it to attract people into buying these. But these are higher quality than the standard NATO military. These are metal handles. This is probably my favorite though. So rust-free on the tang, but then it actually has serrations at the top. It's pretty cool. Kind of like a bayonet style grind with serrations on top. Very quick. Fun knife. Next we have, this is kind of the one that I consider the standard NATO military. You have the black bolsters, the pinned handle construction. So this probably was one of those kit knives where it came disassembled and you actually had to take a hammer and pin that together. And the reason they did a lot of that was they imported these from China. And you're not allowed to have automatic knives brought in from China. So, or no, these were, that was another issue. But these were actually being mailed through USPS possibly. And you're not allowed to mail automatic knives over state lines through USPS. So they were disassembled, or they sold them disassembled. You had to assemble themselves because unassembled they weren't considered automatic knives. They got in trouble. That's one of the reasons why they got kind of shut down in terms of they stopped selling automatic kits. But let's open this up. As you can see there, stainless steel. And it was the only stamp on the blade. So you can see that. Next one is, this is one that I had not seen before. It just says NATO military, or it says NATO military on it. I'm thinking this is a reproduction, not from China. I don't remember where I got this, but this is kind of my junkiest one. Black bolsters. Barely any action on there, and on the blade it says, I think, CRP stainless China. So don't really know anything about that. I don't think I've even looked it up, but this one I think it normally failed pretty often, but for some reason it did not this time. Next is a pinned construction green handled one. Does say NATO military. Some of these also have stars on the NATO military. You can see that. These two did not. Neither did these. But so there's the NATO military. Green handle. Open that up. Stainless steel on the blade. Nothing on the reverse. There we go. Next is another camouflage pinned handle construction. It says NATO military on it, like every other knife I've shown on the table. Different camouflage coloring, as you can see there, than the other pinned handle construction. Open it up, and it says FES rust-free. So I'm guessing that it is its own brand. There you go. And the last NATO military, of course, I will disassemble one right after this. Green handle, pinned construction, says NATO military. Let's see what was different about this one. So it just says rust-free on the blade. What did this one say? It said stainless steel. Big difference. Different language. There you go. Those are the NATO militaries in my collection, or at least all the NATO militaries that have a difference and are not broken. So let's take a look at one and disassemble it, show you what's on the inside of the knife. So here we go. So this is actually one that I think I need to fix. So first we can take that lever off for the button, and you can see there's two little holes in it, so if you want to move it over slightly, you can actually pop the button off on some of them. I don't know if it's like that on all. Next, you can lift the scale off right there. This one, you can see the inside scale there. You have a single spring to actuate this, so let's take that out. And we have the spring here. You have the operating mechanism, and then the two little plungers here that either hold the knife in the open position or in the closed position. So you can see that. And when this slides, you basically push this thing to push these levers down, which allow it to either open. Let's see. It should allow it to open. There we go. Or to close. There we go. So let's reassemble this knife. Very simply made, as you can see in there. And see if we can get this back in working order. First, we need to put this spring back on here. Let's see if this needs to go on a particular way. Now, one is slightly longer than the other side. So I'm going to think that the longer one goes at the bottom, because I have a 50% chance to gain that right. Stretch it out and push it on there. It either does or doesn't. Okay. Now let's push this back. The blade has to be off the rail, so that's good. Push that back in. Put this handle back on. There we go. Throw that back on there. Good. And let's try to pull this back on the rail. And there we go. Oh. Well. Spring doesn't seem to be strong enough. I think that is the issue there. I think I see why they sold this as one of the broken ones. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed. Those are my Nato military knives that I currently have in my collection. I add at least a couple every year from attending yard sales, flea markets, gun knife shows regularly. And then I do have some that are the same style, but have different writing on it. The super automatics, those are quite popular as well. Same knife, but says super automatic. But this is not a video on super automatics. It's on Nato militaries, so didn't show those. But hopefully you enjoyed. Have a great day. Talk to you guys later.